The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, holding another hearing on Capitol Hill today. The committee hearing pre-recorded testimony from a number of campaign advisors to former President Trump about what transpired on election night. Trump claimed victory that night, even though some states were still counting votes. Most of his advisors told him not to do it.
Before the election, it was possible to talk sense to the president. And while you sometimes had to engage in, a big wrestling match with him, that it was possible to keep things on track. But I felt that after the election, he didn't seem to be listening.
I think effectively, Mayor Giuliani was saying, we want it. They're stealing it from us. Where'd all the votes come from? We need to go say that we won. And essentially that anyone who didn't agree with that position was being weak.
Let's bring in Congressman Pete Aguilar, Democrat from Redlands, who sits on the January 6th committee. Congressman, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Pretty dramatic stuff there for people that may have been working during the testimony today. What's sort of the big takeaway you want people to get from what happened today?
The big takeaway is that time and time again, people close to the former president told him that he had lost, and that given everything that was happening, he still wanted to declare victory. And so his campaign advisors, his campaign manager, the attorneys near him, they were all in agreement, except a couple of these outside voices. And so what we wanted to detail specifically on the record was to let the American public know how dangerous this was. When the president's sole focus became to stop a peaceful transfer of power, he would do anything he could to try to keep that, including lighting this flame.
Well, and investigators found that Donald Trump pushed the so-called big lie despite knowing it was a lie, in part to potentially rip off donors. Here's some of what was presented at the hearing today.
Between Election Day and January 6th, the Trump campaign sent millions of fundraising emails to Trump supporters, sometimes as many as 25 a day. The emails claimed the, quote, left-wing mob was undermining the election, implored supporters to, quote, step up to protect the integrity of the election, and encouraged them to, quote, fight back. But as the Select Committee has demonstrated, the Trump campaign knew these claims of voter fraud were false, yet they continued to barrage small-dollar donors with emails, encouraging them to donate to something called the Official Election Defense Fund. The Select Committee discovered no such fund existed.
You even said the evidence that Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is Donald Trump's fiance, spoke on January 6th at the big rally that day and was paid $60,000 for a 2.5-minute speech, essentially making the argument that the Trump family was benefiting from this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that this was the transition from the big lie to the big grift. And so what we wanted to detail was that the president and his campaign apparatus, despite knowing that they had lost the campaign, were raising millions and millions of dollars, over $150 million in campaign contributions for a legal defense fund, and they didn't have the bills to even pay for that. They didn't have expenses that met that. So this was all an effort to continue to perpetuate the president's attempt to stop a peaceful transfer of power. So it paid for the rallies, it paid for family members and friends, it paid for the expenses for those rallies. All of that became the effort of the campaign.
Over the weekend, Congressman Adam Schiff, a colleague of yours on the January 6th Commission, suggested that you all have enough evidence right now to go forward with criminal charges. That ultimately is going to be up to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to make that decision. Do you agree? Do you think that there's enough evidence so far that Donald Trump committed a crime?
I don't believe that's what my colleague said. I think what he said was if there were crimes that were committed, they should be investigated by the Department of Justice. I share that sentiment. Our job is to lay out for the American public exactly what happened in the lead up to January 6th and this violent attack on the United States Capitol, the first time that the Capitol had been attacked since 1814. Police officers died, hundreds were injured. Those are the things that we're trying to lay out to the American public. Holding individuals accountable for that, for the crimes, that's what the Department of Justice is there for, and I hope that they pay attention to our effort and do their job.
I mean, but do you think that crimes were committed?
I think it's pretty clear from the Department of Justice charging documents that there are still a number of individuals awaiting charges. But as far as how high that goes within government, we'll let the Department of Justice do their job.
You know, there has not been a lot of specific point-by-point countering of the facts from a lot of Republicans on this. It seems like the pushback is, yeah, who cares? We've got inflation, we've got gas prices, we should be talking about other things. And part of the challenge is getting people to pay attention to this. There's a Morning Consult poll that came out today showing, did registered voters actually watch the primetime hearing, which you had last week? 14% said yes in full, 25% said yes, part of it, 60% said no, we didn't watch it at all. How do you get through to those people, to the millions of Americans who are just saying, I don't want to see it, I don't care, I'm not paying attention?
Well, our first hearing was a success. 20 million people, watching. That's more than we normally get on C-SPAN. So we're going to chalk that up as a success. But I think your broader point is fair, and that's why we appreciate having conversations like this with a wider viewership within Southern California, so folks understand the importance of protecting democracy. That's what this is about. We can talk about inflation and the economy as well, but right now, this is about protecting democracy and making sure that a violent attack like this never happens again.
And lastly, what's next for you all?
Well, what's next? We're going to have one more hearing this week, and then we will have 2 hearings next week. But this is going to be a steady drumbeat where we're going to continue to talk about specific aspects of this January 6th attack on the Capitol. We're going to piece together this puzzle for the American public, and each hearing will have a specific focus. And we look forward to telling that story.
Pete Aguilar of Redlands, Democrat, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you making time for us on such a busy day.